I could be the good guy.
Often the good guy sticks around.
Hey there, this is Joey, back again with another marvelous video. When it comes to Wolverine, there's no denying that he's been with gobs of women. Truth be told, it'd be a lot easier to point out all the women that he's not been with, rather than the ones he has indulged in. While we are not really sure what it is that makes this feral mutant so desirable, today's video here is certainly going to give you some answers. Stay tuned till the end of this video to know about every romantic conquest of this absolute force of destruction here. Are you ready? Let's find out. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
You wanted to be with me.
Come here.
Jean Grey. What exactly is one supposed to make out of? Sometimes, I think my love for her is the only thing that keeps me from sliding back into that wild redness. Or, she's my one and only darling, Jean. Well, if you ask us, we think that out of all the women in Wolverine's life, Jean Grey conclusively remains to be his one true love. After all, can you deny the intensity of their attraction ever since they first crossed paths with each other? It is true Jean was in a relationship with fellow X-Men member Cyclops at the time, but if we're being honest here, things were never really the same between the duo, especially after she met Wolverine. Fans of X-Men will agree with us when we tell you that more than the movies, it was the comics that delved deeper into the complicated relationship between Wolverine and Jean. Add to this different timelines that played a significant role in bringing the duo closer in ways that we've always craved for. For instance, in the Earth 18119 timeline, Jean not only ends up getting married to Wolverine, but they also have a daughter together called Kate. That's not all. If we take a look at the Earth 295 timeline, both aren't only seen as lovers here, but they're also seen eventually getting married to each other.
Quite like you.
What do you want? An apology?
You know what I want.
Mystique. For a mutant shapeshifter who has the ability to transform herself into anybody she wants to, jumping into bed with Wolverine wasn't really a big deal. Given that the duo first crossed paths with each other back in the early 1900s, it is only fair to say that they have had a very long shared history with each other. The shapeshifting mutant Raven Darkholm, who is popularly known as Mystique, has faked herself to be Wolverine's friend, manipulated him, betrayed him, framed him for murder, and as if all these weren't enough, she even orchestrated events that ended up sending Wolverine straight to hell. So if the thought of Mystique indulging in a romantic relationship with Wolverine surprises you, which by the way happened in the alternate reality known as House of M, then how would you react to Mystique having a son with Wolverine? Well, in the Earth 13729 timeline, the duo actually had a son together, who later grew up to be Raze Darkholm. Storm. For two of the longest serving members of the X-Men, they surely have done quite a few things together. This includes working together, leading teams, running the Jean Grey School for gifted youngsters, and let's not disregard their occasional flirting. Well, if you're taken aback by the duo appearing as a couple, what would you do if we told you that on Earth 9811, they're not only married to each other, but they also have a daughter and a son together? Now, if we take a quick look at the story, Storm was one of the Secret Wars heroes who was trapped on the Patchwork planet constructed by Beyonder, and as a result could not come back home to Earth. It is here that Storm settles down with Wolverine and in due course has two children with him. Sarah Pazzini, aka Witchblade. We all know Witchblade and Wolverine as heroes who are poles apart. So, while it is impossible to even imagine the duo striking up a romance with each other, you can be sure Wolverine won't let you down in this regard. In fact, a particular Marvel and Top Cow crossover took things up a notch higher and got the duo married, as seen in the one-shot crossover titled Witchblade/Wolverine. Both are seen suffering from memory loss, and clearly are not in their right frame of mind when they get hitched to each other. While in the end it is made clear to the duo that they got married under the influence of mind control, there is no denying that the pair certainly did recognize a genuine connection between them. We are aware of the fact that Wolverine's wedding to Witchblade might be the strangest romance to be featured, but given the presence of the alternate realities, this odd couple here might not seem so odd after all. Captain Marvel. Long before Carol Danvers took on the mantle of Captain Marvel for herself, she was a highly talented field agent for Air Force Intelligence, one who was frequently made to team up with the Canadian Secret Service agent Wolverine for tasks that were of great significance to both the States as well as Canada. Later issues have revealed how the two have been both friends and partners, trading information and returning favors or protection, and for many years, may we add. While it is more than often hinted that the two were more than just friends, it was on Earth 5700 that Carol Danvers Danvers became the wife of Wolverine. The storyline states how Carol backed the mutants and had joined Wolverine's third incarnation of the X-Men to fight the artificially intelligent robots, also known as the Sentinels. It is around this time that she is said to have married him, but sadly Carol passed away before she could have a child with Wolverine. The exact cause of her death still remains unknown, but in all probability, it is assumed that the artificially intelligent robots, or in other words, the Sentinels, were accountable for her death. Invisible Woman. One is most accustomed to see Susan Storm as the nagging wife or bossy sister, or the concerned mother for that matter, so gear yourselves up when we tell you that this wasn't the case in the alternate universe of Exiles. In fact, on Earth 1720, she appeared as Empress Hydra, one who had major plans of world domination. She had either slaughtered most of Earth's heroes or brainwashed the rest into being submissive members of Hydra, and at the same time, follow her orders without questioning her. Now, as far as Wolverine's concerned, Madame Hydra ended up making him not only her adjutant, but also her lover. No wonder, the duo made a deadly pair. Dr. Sarah Kinney. Well, technically speaking, Wolverine did not sleep with Dr. Sarah Kinney, but having said that, the expert in the field of genetics also happens to be the surrogate mother of X-23, one who was born from an exceedingly damaged genetic sample of Wolverine, and thereby happens to be the very result of the Weapon X program. Dr. Kinney was hired by the head of the facility, Dr. Martin Sutter, when the former informed the highly classified organization that she could recreate Weapon X through cloning. However, with Dr. Kinney's efforts of generating a clone leading her down a blind alley, she proposed the idea of creating a female clone instead. Despite her request getting dismissed in the beginning, Dr. Kinney still decided to go ahead with her plan and made use of some of her own genetic material to round off the whole process. The result was a female embryo, which made Dr. Sutter reconsider his initial decision and thereby gave Dr. Kinney the green signal. However, because of Dr. Kinney's insubordination, Dr. Xander Rice, who happened to be the head of the project, compelled the geneticist to act as the surrogate mother to the embryo. Native. Well, for someone in possession of the same regenerative healing factor as Wolverine, add to this acute animal senses and 6 retractable bone claws, she surely seems to be an ideal match for our lover boy. Codenamed as Feral, Native was also used as a test subject for the Weapon X program, and she happened to escape along with Wolverine around the same time the latter did. Together, they hid themselves inside this cabin in the woods for quite some time, and it's only fair to say that with the right mood, the duo turned into eventual lovers. But for some unexplained reason, Wolverine left Native and she settled herself amidst nature. Years later, Wolverine crossed paths with Native once again when Sabretooth influenced him into tracking her down. Wolverine, upon locating Native in the woods, reignited their relationship and the duo went back to being passionate lovers. So much so, Native also became pregnant, but their happiness was not meant to last long. Sabretooth ended up slaughtering not only Native, but also her unborn child, thereby leaving Wolverine utterly heartbroken. Gok. Once, a solo mission in the Savage Land led to Wolverine crossing paths with the local tribe of Fire. The clan leader, Gok, challenged him to a fight, and it was only after Wolverine overpowered the leader that he got to know that the chieftain's real identity as a woman. After Gok's defeat, she was removed from her powerful position in the tribe, and her post was conferred on Wolverine instead. To all of you wondering what happened to Gok after that, well, she offered herself to the new clan leader. Despite being from 2 completely different worlds, the duo became friends and then turned into lovers. Mind you, Gok was quite possessive of Wolverine, and she fought every other woman who even attempted to touch him. Post the completion of Wolverine's mission on Savage Land, he left from there without bidding goodbye to Gok. Months later, Gok was reported to have conceived a son named Arista, a child that Wolverine does not even have the faintest idea of to date. Itsu. Itsu Akihiro categorically happens to be amongst the few women that Wolverine was truly in love with. Wolverine met Itsu in Japan when he was sent there as part of his training by his sensei Ogun Rai. The duo fell in love the moment they saw each other, and their affair in due course resulted in them getting married. Sometime later, Wolverine was overjoyed to learn from his beloved wife that she was bearing his child, and in celebration, the whole village gathered around, having prepared a ceremony that would ultimately prove Wolverine worthy of being a true master ninja. The whole ritual was going in favor of Wolverine, but he got distracted by an unexpected explosion on the mountain. This accidentally caused Wolverine to jut out his bone claws and stab one of the ninjas in the process. The incident left him highly embarrassed, and he was hellbent on leaving the village, but certainly not before bidding farewell to Itsu. But to his complete horror, when he came back home, he found Itsu murdered and their unborn child torn from her womb. Mariko Yoshida. There's certainly no denying that the feelings Wolverine had for Mariko were pure and genuine in the truest sense. Right from his first meeting with the daughter of the Japanese crime lord, he found himself immensely attracted towards Mariko. Speaking of Mariko, she was initially scared of Wolverine, but eventually found herself beginning a romantic relationship with him. But having said that, Mariko was still bound to fulfill her familial obligations and carry her father's legacy ahead. Fair to say, despite falling for one another, the duo continued to face constant hurdles, but the ultimate tragedy struck, with Mariko getting fatally poisoned by the hand assassin, Matsu Sorayaba. Mariko didn't want to face a prolonged, painful death, and therefore approached Wolverine, requesting him to mercy kill her, which the latter did. As far as things are concerned in the alternate Earth 1298 timeline, Mariko is not only married to Wolverine here, but also has 2 kids with him, Mari and Brian. Sylvie Darkness. This powerful sorceress here, along with Wolverine, was tasked with stopping an immensely powerful demon from hell, known as the Truth, one that would come back to the land of the living and wreak havoc every 10 years. Sylvie's mother, who was also a powerful French sorceress, was responsible for bringing forth the entity to the physical realm, and before she died, she had asked Wolverine to keep an eye on Sylvie and protect her during all her battles against the Truth. This naturally had the duo meeting each other once in every 10 years. During a particular encounter where Wolverine could bid her goodbye, Sylvie had him transported to Paris. It was pretty obvious that she wished to know more about him. They went out on a date first, and later that night, the inevitable happened when the duo got intimate with each other. It was many years later that Wolverine learned about his and Sylvie's daughter, Rien du Rien. Elektra. One often can't help but wonder what it is that drove this lethal Scarlet Assassin here towards Wolverine. If you ask us, our guess would be their mutual penchant for sharp blades. While the reason still remains a mystery, the world's greatest assassin is seen happily married to Wolverine on Earth 982. That's not all. The pair even has a daughter together named Rena Logan, who later takes up the secret identity of Wild Thing. This version of Elektra happens to be very wealthy, and is also seen actively engrossed in raising her daughter. Viper. There are times when 2 individuals indulge themselves in a relationship knowing that it is a bad idea, and Viper's relationship with Wolverine is a living proof of that. Believe us when we tell you that Viper literally blackmailed Wolverine into marrying her, not out of love, but for her own selfish reasons. She reminded Wolverine of his promise that the latter made to a dying Seraph, where he agreed to do anything that Viper wanted. So with Viper wanting marriage in return after strategically arranging things her way, Wolverine had no other choice but to marry Viper as part of his honorable debt. Thank God that the marriage did not last long, and the audacious alliance finally came to an end, with Viper agreeing to divorce Wolverine soon after. Rose O'Hara. While it would not be fair to categorize Rose O'Hara in this list, nonetheless, meet Rose, the childhood companion of Wolverine, and the first woman that he fell in love with. Mind you, Rose loved him dearly, but always as a friend. When Wolverine's mutant powers first manifested, and it led to the ill-fated Night of Murders, he was seen leaving the Howlett Mansion along with Rose and seeking refuge in a small mining community. With Rose growing up to be a beautiful woman, Wolverine felt more and more attracted towards her, but with the former falling in love with the mining camp's foreman, Wolverine experienced heartbreak for the first time. A certain intervention of a ghost from the past led to Rose's tragic death at the hands of Wolverine, and unable to cope with the tragic loss, Wolverine escaped into the wilderness, allowing his feral side to take over. Red Sonja. The Earth 90816 timeline not only has Wolverine transported to the Hyborian Age, especially in the era of Conan the Barbarian, but it also has him crossing paths with the strikingly beautiful, fierce warrior, Red Sonja. The two become lovers after Wolverine saves her from the evil wizard, Zukala, who had sinister plans of sacrificing Red Sonja and going to extreme lengths. It is only fitting to say that Red Sonja finally found her match in Wolverine, and she ended up marrying him soon after. Silver Fox. It was in the early 1900s that Wolverine met Silver Fox, fell in love, and started living together. But Fox became a victim of Sabretooth, who not only ended up assaulting her, but also seemingly slaughtered her. Years passed by, and Fox was eventually revealed to be alive. She was seen getting reunited with Wolverine, only to have Sabretooth get in the way once again and finish the job that he began, only this time for real. Also seen on Earth 717, Fox made an appearance as Wolverine's wife, and the duo even had a son together. But sadly, things took a tragic turn when she, along with her son, were murdered by Dog Logan, who by then had become the crime lord known as Scarface. Her death here is precisely what drove Wolverine to become the Punisher. Dazzler. We are not sure how many of you remember how the 12th issue of Wolverine, The Best There Is ended. Dedicated fans of our mutant lover boy are bound to remember Wolverine sneaking into Dazzler's room late in the night, only to tell her that he's made up his mind to move ahead with his life. Dazzler, who was seen up and sitting on her bed, soon turned off the lights and told Wolverine that it's better if he moved forward. Surprisingly, the last descriptive panel of the comic issue actually shows Dazzler and Wolverine moving closer to each other, and the series ended then and there, leaving every reader thinking, what would be the duo's next step? While it's true that their encounter was never really brought up later in the comic series, given Wolverine's history with women, it is only fair to welcome Dazzler into his list of romantic conquests. Domino. The solitary fact that Domino prefers to keep things casual has made her hook up with Wolverine numerous times. Her need to keep things simple in life, and in this case make Wolverine fulfill her physical requirements, but without displaying the slightest bit of emotional intimacy, makes this mutant pair just perfect for each other. The Black Cat. We aren't making things up when we tell you that Wolverine has always been a sucker for a girl with a nice set of claws. Now imagine Wolverine and the Black Cat kidnapped and transported to a remote island, one where the two are hunted by a bunch of rich hunters with high-tech weapons. Minus the initial disliking towards each other, and add to this the duo in due course working together as a team, they are eventually able to turn the table on their real captors. So to those of you thinking that they only indulge themselves in kicking and slashing, you are seriously making a mistake here. Of course the duo got naughty. In fact, things actually got pretty steamy inside a private booth in the restaurant. Yukio. There has been an unquestionable chemistry between Yukio and Wolverine since the time the duo crossed paths with each other. Well, technically speaking, they first met around the time when Wolverine was madly in love with Mariko Yoshida. Call it familial obligation, but Mariko ended up marrying a different guy. This eventually led to Wolverine embarking on what would be fitting to address as an on and off again relationship with Yukio, and visibly involved physical intimacy. In fact, initially, their relationship was more like this bond of convenience, one that suited both their lifestyles. But with time, their trust for each other and the bond grew deeper, so much so that Wolverine started regarding Yukio as his family and trusting her with his foster daughter, Amiko. Atsuko. One thing's for sure, when it comes to Japanese women, Wolverine definitely does not have much luck with them, especially not after he makes them his girlfriends. Speaking of Atsuko, she first met Wolverine when the latter was escaping from a prison camp, along with his companion Lieutenant Ethan Warren. They were running in the woods when they bumped into Atsuko. While Warren wanted to kill the Japanese woman, Wolverine did not, and he threatened Warren that if he shot her, he would end up meeting a similar fate. This had Warren leave Wolverine and run off from there, and speaking of the latter, he decided to stay back with the woman. Wolverine and Atsuko started liking each other's company, and this made them spend more time with each other. As time passed by, they also fell in love. The duo had barely started a life together when Warren came back looking for revenge on Wolverine and ultimately slew Atsuko, thus putting an end to their love story. Squirrel Girl. Well, it is actually implied in New Avengers that Wolverine did have a fling with the not-so-kid-friendly anymore Squirrel Girl. While the details of their relationship still happen to be a mystery, it is cited in the comic series that things between Dorian Green and Wolverine most certainly did not end on a good note. Why else would they agree never to see each other again? While a sudden face-to-face exchange with each other did leave both of them awkward for the time being, but as we move ahead in the storyline, it's just like old times, like nothing ever happened. We sincerely hope that we get to have a peek into their storyline in the near future. Marine Logan. Honestly speaking, we do not have much information about Marine in general, but if you take a look at the Old Man Logan storyline, the character not only happens to be Wolverine's wife there, but also the mother to his children, Scotty and Jade. Sadly, the story took a grim turn when Marine and her children were brutally killed by the Hulk's twisted family for Wolverine's inability to pay the house rent on time. Gaia. Amidst all the unusual things that Wolverine is famous for, let's not disregard the one time that he literally saved the world by rocking the very planet. Please tell us you got the pun here. Okay, for those who have not, this certainly needs some elucidation. In plain and simple words, Wolverine went to extreme lengths, and by that, we are specifically talking about impregnating Gaia, just so he could give her his healing factor and prevent her from destroying New Earth. Wow, that certainly did give his scoreboard an all-new high. Cassie Lathrop. This particular ex-girlfriend of Wolverine worked for the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. Wolverine came into the picture when he got himself entangled in one of her cases. With Cassie probing deeper into the matter, she became more and more obsessed with Wolverine. Please know that when we say obsessed, we literally mean Cassie dreaming about him. She eventually tracks him down, and this leads to Wolverine spending several nights with Cassie, only to ditch her one fine day and leave her without saying anything. Charlemagne, who we have here, was not just one of Wolverine's old flames, but a very dear friend of his, an intelligent agent to be more precise, and from his spy days, may we add. In fact, Wolverine actually considered Charlemagne a far better tracker than him. The duo, having worked together on many occasions, formed a rather deep connection, one that led to a brief but passionate romance. But to call it Wolverine's bad luck with women or whatever you want to, Charlemagne died after receiving a rather fatal blow from Spider-Man. Now, who would have thought that, right? No one saw that coming. Amir, this Atlantean covert operative here, did not just aid Wolverine in missions, but also had her way with him. Now, we aren't exactly sure what it is that led to Wolverine confiding in Amir his most private thoughts and feelings, because Amir initially treats with him very casually and did not let her emotions come into the picture. But with time, we do get a further and deeper peek into their bond. Both of them were seen truly caring for each other and developing a rather serious romantic relationship. But as fate would have it, Amir was killed while assisting Wolverine on a mission, leaving the latter completely heartbroken. Marvelous verdict. Well, with this, we finally come to the end of our video here. So, who among Wolverine's long list of lovers happens to be your personal favorite? Hit us with your thoughts in the comments section and let us know if we missed out on any. Also, stay tuned with us, and we promise to come back with more exciting content. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe.